over in Helsinki, President Trump's nomination of Brett Kavanaugh back home to replace Justice Anthony Kennedy on the Supreme Court has polarized many in the Senate. But several swing vote senators have kept their opinions about Kavanaugh close to the vest. So where does the Senate stand? Where do some key lawmakers stand at this moment? And will he be confirmed before the midterms? Joining me now, we're lucky to have him live, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, who is a swing vote on this nomination. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ed. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. I know you have some news on Russia, and we're going to get to that in a moment. I want to start on Kavanaugh. There had been some reports that I think were false, suggesting you might be a no vote on Kavanaugh because of your concerns, and you've been very upfront and very strong on civil liberties for many years in the Senate now, and I want to get the case right. Clayman versus Obama in 2013, Kavanaugh, as a federal judge, as you know, wrote that sometimes the special needs of law enforcement, quote, outweighs the intrusion on individual liberty. I know you had concerns about that case and maybe others, but I also understand you have an open mind. So where do you stand? Are you what will it take to get to you to yes on Kavanaugh?
At this point, I'm undecided, but I try to weigh this in the perspective of this could be a Clinton nominee versus a Trump nominee. So I am somewhat persuaded to have an open mind because this is President Trump, who did such a great job, with Justice Gorsuch. I am worried, though, and perhaps disappointed that I think Kavanaugh will cancel out Gorsuch's vote on the Fourth Amendment. Kavanaugh said in his opinion in Clayman that basically national security trumps the Fourth Amendment, and that the bulk collection, you remember the program that Snowden revealed, that the government was collecting all of our metadata, all of our phone records, and storing it in Utah? I mean, millions and millions and millions of pieces of data. Basically, Kavanaugh ruled that he was just fine with it, that basically the national security required it. I disagree completely, and I think if we give up our liberty for security, we may end up with what Franklin said, and that's neither liberty nor security.
But that's a strong issue for you. What would it take, though, to get you to yes? Do you think you can overcome that? Because, as you say, big picture here, it's not a Clinton nominee, and maybe you could come around and support Kavanaugh.
Well, there are 10 rights, or 10 Bill of Rights, 10 amendments listed in the Bill of Rights. And so the Fourth Amendment's one of them. So we're already down one. Let's see how he does on the other 9. I'm willing to meet with him. I'd like to have a frank discussion with him. And the bottom line is I don't think you get much from Supreme Court justices, but I think the conversation is useful. And I think it's worth him hearing that I don't think anybody in America believes that when you use a cell phone company, or when you use Visa, or when you use a bank, that somehow you've given up your privacy. That's what the Supreme Court said in the 1970s, and they couldn't be more horribly wrong. Nobody in America believes you give up your privacy when you do banking, but there are some people who believe that in the court system. I'm concerned about Kavanaugh. We're going to have hopefully an open and long and far-ranging conversation about this.
So, Senator Paul, open-minded about Kavanaugh. There are a lot of closed-minded people, it seems, right now on this summit here in Helsinki, which kicks off tomorrow, where I am. And, Senator, I wonder, I'm hearing that you have some news to make for us this morning, that you're planning a trip to Russia to follow up on all of this.
Yes, I've been an advocate for engagement, and I think there are a lot of simplistic people out there on both sides of the aisle that are criticizing President Trump. Engagement is a good idea. Engagement means having meetings, having conversations. Even during the height of the Cuban Missile Crisis, there was a direct line of communication between Kennedy and Khrushchev. So we need to have communication. We want to make sure there are no mistakes. We don't want to mistakenly amble into a war because we were in close proximity and didn't know it. So I'm very much for open lines of communication. It doesn't mean that we agree or we accede to things that Russia is doing, but we have to have communication. And that means bilateral exchanges of our leaders in our country to theirs.
So when are you going and who are you bringing?
After his meeting. I'm going to be there in early August, and I'll be going with Cato, which is a foreign policy and free market think tank, and some of their members. And we'll be talking to the president after Helsinki and asking him if there are some things that we can follow up on. We have some ideas for renewing cultural exchange, renewing exchange of political leaders. We need to have more exchange of thought and communication than we've had.
All right. Well, Senator Paul, right in the thick of the Brett Kavanaugh nomination, as well as this summit in Helsinki, trying to make sure that something positive comes from it. Senator Paul, we appreciate you taking some time out to come on Fox and Friends this morning, sir.
Thank you.